Hi, I just want to, hello YouTube. This is my first time making a video about my experience, telling my story for the first time. And I just wanted to welcome you to my first live stream. I'm very new at trying to set this up. And I hope that you'll bear with me because I'm nervous and I'm definitely anxious to bring um, this story out, and I'm still learning the ins and outs of YouTube, and I'm very excited to have this broadcast. I felt led and called by the Spirit, Holy Spirit, to be able to promote or not promote, but kind of get this story out on a platform that I felt would reach a lot of people because it is a message that has been uh, uh, on my heart for a long time because I experienced it. And I just wanted to bring this to this. My story is going to be brought out to the forefront because it needs to be heard. I feel God has given me a big platform to work with, and I was told YouTube was the platform to do it on, and other various social media sites. But this is kind of like but it's baby steps. This was the first platform that I will be using to get my story out. But I wanted to make sure that what I'm telling is going to be shed light on a situation, shed light on an epidemic, shed light on and be uh, should have a spotlight put on it, should be exposed. There should be exposure for it because it's a great injustice and it's happening all over the world. And a lot of people are not waking up to it. But I have always been awakened to many things. But in this particular case, I am now coming out of a slumber, coming out of a brain fog with what has happened to me, which is happening to a lot of people. And I see in a lot of the YouTube threads, in the spiritual community, the psychic community, the tarot community, the Christian community, and even not Christian communities regarding an issue that has, or many issues, but this particular issue dealing with abuse and spiritual abuse, religious abuse, ritualistic abuse. And this heinous crime has gone unchecked and unchallenged for a long time. I had been a victim of this abuse as far back as childhood, going back all the way to my mother, Vashti Cole Parker. And now everything has come full circle almost because my experience had been the experience I've had over the last 50 years now has culminated into having had this revelation, this epiphany after this recent bout of going through a messy divorce. Well, it wasn't really messy, but the way that it unfolded was nothing short of a miracle. I am still here today because of my ancestors, my spiritual team, God Himself, the Most High, and the Holy Spirit, and the divine itself, the universe, because I'm here for a purpose and a big purpose. Because what I endured, a lot of people were not able to survive it. And because I have been given the task that others failed to accomplish, I'm now being able to speak out about it and with passion and fervency and with an urgency because it needs to be heard. Because people have been silenced about it. People have been forced to be silenced about it. People have been coerced to be silent about it, and have been suppressed because they're afraid. My ancestors given me the gift of fearlessness in the face of adversity, strength and courage, and a resilience that is unmatched in any form, anywhere on the planet, on this earth. And I have to share this because it is very important that I do, because I'm trying to straighten myself out here, is that there have been unforeseen forces that have tried to stop me from getting this word out, to not allow me to speak my truth, to not allow me to speak the truth about this abuse, this bullying, this this hidden hatred and jealousy and envy, the 7 deadly sins, all because you're being yourself, you being your authentic and genuine self. I just recently got divorced from a very narcissistic, abusive, toxic, karmic ex-husband who did something very heinous that is almost unforgivable, and has tried to bring me down because I left him, retaliated against me because I left him. And once I left him, I believe some sort of chain reaction, a domino effect was created, because I had been giving a very sacred purpose. I am a very sacred divine being that has been given the power and authority to be able to call out things. And the gift of foresight helped me be able to see something that I did not see initially. And that is that I was being played using mind games. This person was using mind games. He was a player. And illusions were placed in my over my eyes to not allow me to see something for what it was. And this is a story of domestic abuse, domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, a murder for hire plot, secret love affairs involving workplace coworkers and my own family members, and ritualistic abuse involving a secret coven, secret cult that masqueraded as a religious organization affiliation, going around abusing people behind the scenes, behind closed doors. Being bullied when I was doing nothing but showing love, doing what I was called to do, loving someone unconditionally, and giving my all when it was taken advantage of, when it was abused, when I was being neglected. I was being put down as if I was nothing, thrown away and discarded like trash. And set up to be sacrificed and taken out by a hitman, which was my husband, Robert Marsh Butler. I am his second wife. And I was trapped into a fraudulent marriage that I did not know that I was a pawn for something more sinister going on behind the scenes, behind my back. And not knowing that my own family members were involved in this plot to take me out, not just physically, but spiritually, to remove my spiritual gifts, to make it seem like I was mentally unstable, mentally crazy, unstable, unhinged, a bad parent, a bad sister, a bad daughter, a bad coworker. When the opposite was further from the truth, when it was all further from the truth. I've been homeless. I've had my children alienated from me by their fathers. I was evicted and lost an apartment that I tried to fight to keep. I lost my transportation. I spent a lot of time trying to start over and rebuild. And I didn't have a lot of the resources, but I used what I had, which was my superior intelligence, my advanced intelligence, and my heart. I gave my heart to people. I gave my heart to a person who did not appreciate what he had. I gave my heart and my love and my care, and my compassion and my empathy to people who did not appreciate what they had. It was right in front of them. God had given me the passion to love people. And they did not care about me or love me back. In fact, they went out of their way to destroy me by sabotaging my relationships, sabotaging with my children, sabotaging even my marriage, sabotaging my work, sabotaging my means to take care of myself, sabotage the way that I saw myself. And they did not want me to even have food. They did not even want me to eat. They wanted to see me out on the street. They wanted to see me bloody, bruised, and broken, not having a soul to come and help me. I have been gang stalked. My phone had been hacked. It's still being hacked. I've been remote viewed, spied on, stalked. My creative work, songs stolen, because my ex-husband and I had started a band. I sing, and I'm very good at it. I'm damn good at it. Writing songs. He was a songwriter, music, and every composer and everything, and we started a band, which is my namesake. All of that had been flushed down the toilet because my ex-husband felt that he could do better than me. He had two paths, and he chose a certain path. That path he felt had a better outcome because it had money involved, more money. And when I came to him, when I first met him, and we got together, I told him I don't have a lot of money, because we both worked in the same place at MODA Center here in Portland, Oregon. But all I have is my heart to give. He did not take that seriously. And given the choice, he chose someone and something, money over love. He chose something that seemed right in the short term, but turns out in the long term, it won't yield anything very successful or anything long lasting or anything of great repute. He went to the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is not green on the other side because you're not watering it in the current situation. And if you don't water that particular grass, it's going to wither and die. And so using my intuition, and I'm very highly intuitive, and I know that that is a gift that God has blessed me with. And I have been blessed with many gifts. Psychic abilities, prophetic abilities, healing abilities, for the most part, healing. And the world needs healing. There are people that need healing, but I'm afraid for a lot of people, it's too late for a lot of them because of the damage that they have done. And I'm sad to say that my ex-husband was one of them, and my mother, Vashti Cole Parker. I'm getting this live stream out because over the past 10 months, there have been things that have gone on unbeknownst to me that my ex-husband had plotted along with my family members. Sisters are involved, co-workers are involved. Money had been exchanged because my life was worth nothing to these people. And no one spoke up and stood up and spoke out about the situation regarding the abuse of me and others. I'm not the only one. And I had to get this video out because I was a victim of this gang stalking, bullying, control, intimidation tactics to try to force me to unalive myself so they can receive some money from a life insurance policy, an inheritance that was passed down to me that my ex and my mother stole and others have stolen, and have gotten others on board to create this smear campaign of hate and get on the bandwagon to attack people who are innocent, who didn't do anything to them, nothing to them, but love them. They hated the thought of love because they didn't have it themselves, and they didn't have it in themselves to love themselves. And they got even strangers who didn't even know me involved, that I would have given the shirt off my back to give my last, alienating me, on top of that, separating me from my children, whom I was already grieving over the loss. And they have a smile on their face and had a hand in this. Multiple people, a whole gang of people, a whole group of people, some I don't even know, to jump on this hate train, all for money and fame and success, and to be put in a higher status bracket, to show the world that they have something when they don't. I was forced out of the home and physically attacked by my husband or ex-husband because I did not have what he demanded of me, which was money. And he saw that, he looked at me as if I was of little worth when I was everything that anybody could have dreamed of: brains, beauty, influence, a very sacred lineage, a very sacred ancient royal lineage, a spiritual lineage. To go to a second-rate person, insecure person like himself, sloppy seconds, a trash bin, a homewrecker like him. And I say this in earnest, not because I am angry, but the fact that someone would see me as something less than myself because they don't see, they saw outwardly what I didn't have. I didn't have a certain look. I didn't have a certain clothes brands. I didn't have makeup on. I didn't look a certain way. I didn't do a certain thing. I didn't have a certain position in life, a certain job. I didn't have the right connections. I didn't have the right family and all this stuff. But he was blind to see what God put in front of him. And he fumbled that. And thank God for it, because I found who I really truly was. I knew who I was in anyway. And I knew I could do better. I knew. He knew that I was out of his league when he met me. But I gave him a chance because I normally don't give older men a chance. And I wasn't going to settle for dealing with someone in the workplace because that just wasn't me. I just felt it was taboo to be going out with someone in the workplace. And I gave him a chance. And it turned out to be something that I will remember for the rest of my days, because in being with this individual, I found out what he was made of when the chips were down. And he did not know me. My mother did not know me. My siblings did not know me because they didn't want to know me. My co-workers who were jealous and envious and hateful, even old childhood friends, they did not know me. They did not know who I was. I truly, truly was. Because when I left home from dealing with all the childhood abuse between my mother and my father, physical abuse, emotional abuse, all that parental abuse, I was treated horribly by my mother. My own mother had stolen something that was handed down to my grandparents. Or my father had taken something that was given to me. But I'm mainly specifically shifting to my mother, because my mother did not want to see me succeed, let alone live. She made sure that I didn't live. She and my ex-husband involved themselves in a plot, and they both got very close. Money was exchanged somehow, and the plot was on. My ex-husband had found other people to come up against me, or there were already people who had already felt some type of way about me, and I never knew. Smiles, fake smiles in my face, but behind my back was putting 10 of swords, stabbing me in my back, left and right, to try to take me out for all of this money, because they know that they weren't fighting in courts and legal battles alone, without them, in spiritual court and in physical court, in the natural courts. And I stood 10 toes down alone, being my own attorney, defending my own self and my children, and speaking up for others. I'm still standing by the grace of God. The universe has heard and seen what has happened. They know what's going on behind the scenes. A very nefarious plan that I'd have no clue about. But through my intuition and through the revelation I've been getting from heaven, from the Holy Spirit, from the universe, from my spiritual team, from my ancestors telling me what was going on, and other things that are going on beyond my intuition, showing me things about what happened, flashbacks that I didn't even know what was going on, piecing the puzzle, because I had no information to go off of, because I was discarded, just left in the dark. I was forced out of home and left in the dark, not knowing what happened with my ex-husband. He held secrets that I did not know. He did things I did not know that put me and my life in danger, and others too, including my children and others who were not aware. But today, that all ends because I am bringing the story to light, because it needs to be heard. It needs to be heard. The truth needs to come out. Even my sisters were involved. Family members were involved, maybe even cousins. But I know my mother and sister have, in very intimate ways that they shouldn't be. They are a disgrace to my lineage, and they have been cut out. They have been cut out of whatever blessings the ancestors were going to give them, because they came up against a chosen one who's been called to be the truth teller in the family, who's been called to speak up on the behalf of the dead for what has happened to them. They have caused a massive injustice, massive. And it is going back on them 1,000-fold. I have been the scapegoat all my life, from my mother and now to my ex-husband. The black sheep. I was called to be a light in this world, to bring healing, to bring love, but also to bring a sword, to bring the sword of truth to things that were hidden in the dark. These covens, these groups, as you should say, people gathering together, celebrating the downfall of innocent people to ruin them so that they can earn some money, so that they can keep doing these things. Well, that ends today. That ends today. Celebrating off the backs of people who have loved you, who have been there for you, who want to see nothing but for you to succeed, when you are now only to see them stabbing people in the back, stabbing me in the back, stealing my work, trying to make it their own, and want to see you in the dirt, to see you without even the basic necessities of life. I wasn't called to be abused. I wasn't called to be put down. I wasn't called to be low vibrational. I wasn't called to be ugly. I wasn't called to be mute. I wasn't called to be depressed. I wasn't called to be out on the street homeless with nowhere to go, no food, no transportation, no love of my children, no love of a community. To not be seen, to not be heard. My ex-husband and my family members, those that have sided with them, did not want me to speak. They didn't even want me to be seen. They didn't want me to promote myself. They didn't want me to inspire people, to uplift people, to love on people, to support people, to see them do better, to see them be their best, to be their higher self, to operate in a higher vibration, which I'm here to bring the entire planet. But for those that wanted to take me down by collaborating with others, even being intimate with them when it is inappropriate and unethical, inappropriate, darn near illegal, or even forbidden, being involved in forbidden relationships with other relatives or other people that you or I am associated with, or that others who are associated with them. That goes beyond spiritual laws, family laws, ancestral laws, universal laws. And in a lot of cases, illegal legal laws goes against that, especially spiritual. For you to come up against someone like me who has the power of 10,000 angels, a million angels. To throw rocks and hide hands, and to act as if nothing has gone wrong. You feel entitled to abuse me. You feel entitled to abuse others. Or the person that you wreck a home with, they feel empowered to abuse someone else who's innocent, who's hardworking, who is of upright character, who has a moral compass, who is morally fit and competent to operate in a leadership capacity, or in a community, or in an organization, or out in the public, or in private. And you think you can get away with doing all this and that it goes unseen. Well, it's not, because it is the season of justice. And you had time to be able to do what you were supposed to do to make it right in this lifetime, and you failed. There won't be another chance. There won't be a second chance. You were given a second chance. The time is up. You allowed time to go by thinking time was on your side, when time has been stolen. Time is not waiting for you. It's moving forward. And we all are, who now are spiritually awakened to the plots and the schemes and the plans of the wickedness that you have already sown. And many of us are now speaking out, and there are those who are afraid to speak out. Well, I'm saying this now that many can speak out now and start speaking up, because I was given the ability to prophesy this, that judgment's been called. It has been called. You've been called to do what was right and you failed to do it, and now the trumpet has blown. You've been given chance after 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 chance, and you still refuse to speak up. You did not defend me when people were abusing me. You stood by and said nothing. You encouraged it. You enabled the abuse, taking money you shouldn't have, that didn't belong to you, and felt you were entitled to put me down and abuse me, to see me begging for my life, being stomped down to the ground with blood on my face, and people putting their foot on my necks, punching me in the stomach, beating me till you saw blood, where the divine asked for blood back. The spirit realm is about business, nothing personal. And so now, for all those victims that passed away because of being, for those who had been murdered or killed because of black magic, voodoo spells, death spells placed on them, things put in their food to make them sick, till they're so ill they can't wake up. To the living who are suffering in poverty, who are suffering because other members of their family betrayed them and stole their inheritances, material inheritances, and even spiritual inheritances to help them make a living. You have the audacity to sit here and preach. All of a sudden you found religion and you preach about God, when behind the scenes you're having orgies and threesomes and on the down low and having bisexual sex, and no one knows about this. You're going to clubs and you're partying, you're drinking, you're doing drugs and alcohol, people putting drugs in your drinks and things, and you're stealing medications, you're stealing medicines, you're committing all these illegal crimes, not getting away with not paying your taxes and things like that. lying and slandering people, making up things that aren't true and can be backed up by just doing a little bit of fact checking and due diligence, abusing your power and authority, even going as far as to obstruct justice by taking bribes to not interfering with a court case or interfering with paperwork from the police department, by either bribing court officials and police officers, female police officers or female court officials, and meeting up in certain places, exchanging money and bribes, giving bribes, and they're giving bribes back to try to maneuver around the legal system so you won't get caught committing some crime, which is illegal anyway, of bribery. By going around and sleeping around and cheating. I've never cheated on anybody. I've been faithful throughout this whole time. It's a gift to be celibate, to wait for the right person. And I thought that was my ex-husband, but apparently not. I believe in being faithful. I believe in that tradition. Whether you are gay or lesbian or heterosexual, faithfulness is a virtue. Patience, like patience, and compassion, and mercy, and truth, and righteousness. I believe in balance and harmony. And there has been a huge injustice and imbalance throughout the entire part of my life, because there are people in my life who are close to me who didn't want that. They tried mirroring what I had because they didn't have it in themselves. All the virtues of morality they did not have, and they tried to copy that. You can't copy authenticity. You cannot copy authenticity. And you cannot steal what does not belong to you. It was divinely given to me. So whatever that was, whether spiritually or materially, it does not belong to them. They took it by any means necessary, even if they had to slander my name, smear campaign, gaslighting, manipulating, pathological manipulation, lying, cheating, not just in an intimate way, but stealing spiritually my energy, which is worth its weight in gold. It is priceless. And it kept me drained to not see my full potential, to not see what I had, and gave it to others to manifest off of my back, my blood, sweat, and tears. I know I'm gifted and talented in many, many ways. I am multi-talented. That's something that they don't have. They had it, but they used it for evil, to harm people, to hurt people that didn't deserve it. And the people that he is associated with and ran with and colluded with and schemed with, they did this to others that didn't deserve it. Whoever you are, you don't deserve the abuse that you suffer from these people. Their insecurities, their hatred, their jealousy and envy, because they didn't want to do the work that it took to get there. They don't have the right to earn that. And they don't have the right to have it. And now it is being taken from them permanently. As we speak, it has been taken away. transferred to you if you accept it. You already have your own talents and gifts, but you've just gotten an upgrade, a boost. My ex-husband, whoever he decided to choose over me, can't hold a candle to me, nor can compete or compare with me, because I'm the only one and the one. I am the star and the sun and the light and the powerhouse and the history maker and trailblazer of my generation, of my time. My ancestors didn't give me this sight, this foresight for nothing. They didn't give me these gifts for nothing. It is my time to shine. I shine so brightly that they tried to destroy this light. They tried to dim it. They've been trying to dim it, and they're still fighting for life as they try to keep dimming it, trying to steal something that still don't belong to them. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get your stuff either. It is ordained for you. It was written in the stars for you to have. And no matter what they try to do, they could put it in somebody else's name. It's still yours, and it is going to be there for you. Because I've called judgment on it. I have the authority to call judgment because they judged me. Certain people can call judgment, not everybody. But if you're in service of the divine, if you're in service to serve a higher power, and you walk that righteous path, it belongs to you. And hell and high water can't stop it. Hell and high water, it'll come to you. I'm proof of that. I've been blessed since I left this hyena, this gigolo who scammed me into a fraudulent marriage. He pretended to love me. He pretended to care. He pretended to make me feel like I belonged when I didn't in actuality. While others were slandering my name or saying bad things and gossiping behind my back, even my own mother and siblings, and even co-workers or friends, ex-friends now, he didn't stick up for me. He didn't tell me how he felt. None of that. He chimed in with them. He got them all to believe, got them all in a group, gang up against me to try to make it seem like I didn't know what I was doing, that I wasn't smart, that I wasn't intelligent, that I was just naive and gullible and a child at heart and mind. I was just child-minded, and I wasn't. I put my own self through college. I enrolled myself in college. I paid my way through college. I got my degrees. I have several degrees, even a master's degree. There are many things that I could be. But knowing that my own family members had been plotting behind my back in a very sinister manner, a disgraceful manner. My ancestors are rolling in their grave for what they've done behind the scenes. Disgusting. They are shameful. And I have cut them out of my life. They deserve to be cut out from the blessings that are bestowed upon me and mine. Those that belong in my circle. And I have a high amount of discernment now that I didn't have before to see the people who took part in my downfall, as you all will too. I've had time to self-reflect for a long time, and I had to heal from this heartbreak this year. I had to go through the lonely path of filling out legal papers for a divorce that I shouldn't have never had, but I did because it was for my protection. It was for my safety. I had to even get a restraining order against my ex-husband, Robert. My ancestors led me to do so. The Spirit of the Lord led me to do so. Not just for him to protect, for it to protect him from me, but for me to make sure I never go back to abuse, never go back to that cycle of abuse, that toxic karmic cycle of abuse, ever, and to break the generational curses that have been plaguing my bloodline for some time now, that others failed to break. That is within their power to have broken, but they failed to do this. They refused to do it. And it was on me as well to break it, but I took action to do so. And cut it from the root. Work on whatever root work I needed to work on, whatever spiritual work, shadow work, whatever. The healing journey, the healing work to break it. Break it completely for it to never come back up again. While others sit in that dark space and continue this cycle over and over and over and over and over on a hamster wheel, constantly going down a rabbit hole of bad decisions, bad mistakes, bad relationships, toxic relationships, going back to people that don't need to be. No, none of that anymore. Because I knew once I experienced some sort of unhealthy, toxic behaviors in a relationship or dynamic, family dynamic, or even a business dynamic or business relationship or acquaintance, whatever, break it off. But I had said, finally, enough is enough. And I had to take the steps to be able to cut the ties from this person because they were living in a fantasy world. Fantasy, trying to fulfill a fantasy. Wanting more and more, an insatiable appetite for wanting more and more, where they're never going to have what they want because they're not grateful for what they have in the current moment. And they miss out on those blessings that they had currently. They don't see what was in front of them. Because I have been blessed and been favored by the universe, I have been blessed with this wonderful new start. And but there are some things that need to be finished. There are some things that need to be completed. And it's because of those individuals that have been trying to hold me back. They're holding back something very important. And justice will be done on this, or justice has to be done on it. And that's why one of the first steps was for me to come out and talk about this, and bring some truths to light about what I've learned out of this situation's journey. Because others need to know that there are others like me out there. There are many, 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 many people who are being targeted for their spiritual gifts, for their material possessions, for material inheritances, for their character, for whatever assets that they have or lack of assets, but just the spiritual blessings that are due people. There are spiritual gifts that needs to be used. And it is a crime. It's a crime against humanity for what I went through and what others are going through too. I had to learn out of this self-love, self-worth, loving myself, learning my self-worth, discovering myself more in these relationship situations because it was about growth. I'm about not just spiritual growth, personal growth, but spiritual growth. There's a balance here. I've been blessed with the need for balance, the need for harmony, the need for balancing of the yin and yang. It's almost an obsession to me. And that's what the spirit wants us to do. The universe has to balance out eventually. Where there's an imbalance, the flip of that is balance has to be restored. And there's been a huge imbalance that was in my relationship dynamic. And it still is. Because certain individuals didn't want to do the work. And they were withholding something that belonged to me. And as I ascend, like many of us have to ascend, not everybody's going to ascend into this new wave of thinking, this new wave of being. It's all about being. And the earth is changing. Everything has been changing. With COVID and everything coming out of that and everything, people getting out and doing things, people connecting, reconnecting everything. Everything has to now begin to balance. The wheel of fortune has turned in many cases because it's time to do so. Everything has to balance out. And I'm here to say that I've been given the ability to foresee things. Love is healing and healing is love. And unfortunately for some, because they continue to do these wicked things, continue to want to hurt people, continue to want to bring people down, continue to want to have these hidden agendas, to hide behind people who do their dirty work for them. They're flying monkeys. So that they think that they'll get some sort of honor when they're dishonorable. My ex-husband was dishonorable, and my mother and my siblings and all those co-workers who tried to tragically come against me were dishonored. They're dishonored. I don't care if they're in the military. They're dishonorable for doing what they did, because anyone in the military who has high honor, high rank, and is ethical and morally upright would be thinking to themselves, that ain't even honorable. That is not the honorable thing to do, or what you've done was not honorable. They just dismissed themselves from something that they could have had when it was already there. They went to something else thinking that it was better over there, when what they had was more than enough, was everything supposed to have been expected that they would have wanted to have, a wish fulfillment. But no, it's not. They'll never have it now. They'll never have it now. Because they screwed up, because their pride and ego got in the way. Their pride and ego, selfish-centeredness, self-absorption, selfishness got in the way. And now the universe is clearing them out. But we have a task on this earth to raise the vibration of healing, love, and light, and balance and harmony. Balance out this world with our own gifts and seeking justice, doing what is right and seeking justice to set the captives free, to help deliver people out of this darkness, to heal the brokenhearted, using our gifts, heal brokenhearted people, bring them out of captivity of all of this fog, not knowing they're being abused, to give them a voice, to be the voice of the voiceless, to give the dead a voice. The dead are still screaming and crying out for justice because their story hadn't gotten heard. There are people living today whose story hadn't gotten heard, but the dead even more so. It's not enough people in the world to help solve cases, cold cases, things that dead people, they say dead people, dead men tell no tales. True. But who's speaking up for the dead too? Because someone did something illegally, immoral to end their life, to take something that belonged to them, that they may have wanted to leave to their families who are still living. Who allowed them to be the middleman for the ancestors? The ancestors wanted to give it directly to them, but someone got in the way. Who didn't deserve it because they weren't worthy of it? And they did their best to try and steal it or withhold it or deprive a more worthy person of it, or a worthy relative, a worthy person, a worthy individual, person who's going to do right by them. They have the audacity to try and play hide and seek, hot potato, to keep you from having what rightfully belongs to you. But the time of this secret societies and hidden agendas and hidden plots and things like this, that has to be over with. It's got to be. Now, we're supposed to be entering the age of, well, we're in the season of justice. We're entering the age of Aquarius after this, or Capricorn, or whatever the signs are. But I've never been into astrology or anything. But this year alone, I started looking at aspects of astrology and tarot card reading and things like this. And I'm seeing in communities a whole bunch of people in different threads all over the internet telling about family members stealing their inheritance, trying to steal their gifts, trying to obtain something, monetary wealth and affluence and power and control and status and attention, the spotlight in their careers, a boost in their income, being people pleasers, basically. And listening to others instead of listening to their intuition. Listen to the Holy Spirit that's in them, listening to their dreams, listening to their intuition. And for my ex-husband, for many who were low vibrational, drinking and drugging and all that, they didn't listen to the intuition. They didn't heed those warnings, those red flags. I know at some point I did. But I realized throughout my entire life, I had these gifts. And I kind of knew right from wrong. Well, even as a child, I knew right from wrong when I was being abused and everything. And I realized that's not right. It's not right. It's not right. And my parents abused me. And my parents did not equip me for the real world. They didn't want me fighting back. They didn't teach me how to fight back. They didn't teach me how to speak up for myself. My mother didn't teach me about, how to handle my period and things like that. She didn't teach me anything. She actually taught me what not to be and what not to do. But I was never taught what to do. Neither my father. I know my father did leave me something. He left me something to think about in terms of my future. But he was equally as abusive. But at least he left me one particular thing too that could help with my future. And I did not realize this until now. That was the only thing I can say that was good. But I'm now in a space where I can talk about this. And I can share this with the rest of the world. And I'm hoping this reaches all over the globe. I'm hoping and believing and praying that it does. Because no one should have had to go through what I went through. All of those hardships and trials and tribulations there was no sense, no reason for me to have to go through this, because my own parent left out some information, key information that I needed to help get me out of the situation, when she actually encouraged and enabled me being out on the street with my children, with nowhere to go, and slandering me behind my back, committing fraud, lying on paperwork about my mental health status, about my life, butting into my life, wanting to know information, certain secret information or key information, to try to ruin my life. Even my siblings too. and other uncles or aunts and things like that. I had seen nothing but domestic violence my entire life growing up on both sides of the family. And I had never seen a very good, successful, loving relationship, loving marriage at all. There was always some sort of unhealthy dynamic. Even with friends from school, there was some unhealthy dynamic where the father was toxic masculine and the submissive female, or submissive male husband and overly domineering woman, wife, mother. There was never a loving relationship, loving marriage that I've even seen, even amongst boyfriend and girlfriends. But I now know what love is. I am love. I am truth. I am righteousness. That's all been embedded in me. And yet I get dismissed and looked and overlooked and neglected and abused throughout my entire life and scapegoated. Burdens put on me that I should have never had to bear for someone else. Knowing I was the truth, knowing that my record is clean. I'm living a good life, a decent life. I'm being a good parent and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But yet someone who wanted to take that happiness away or take that good thing away wanted to lie and make up things that I didn't do. Or make up things that I didn't do that I did. They never highlighted any of the great things. Getting a master's degree. Putting myself through college. Having to stay up endless nights and days while taking care of children, young children, my children. And staying up doing papers all night long. Trying to lead my classmates in group sessions and doing research papers. And collaborating with groups of people to finish school projects and things, leading groups, even developing a community biblical play or whatever, or coming up with songs, different songs, or writing articles, or volunteering, or modeling, or being able to talk about the issues of life, talk about, being successful. I believe in helping people succeed. I believe on leading people to be on the right path, helping them get back on the right path and helping them along the way. Spreading whatever wisdom I have and guidance I have. All about spiritually, but also too, my own natural abilities, my own natural talents. I have natural and spiritual talents. I have multitudes of them. I'm very multi-talented. And I have a great sense of humor. People don't really know that because they don't want to be around me to find out. They just think they see the old me, and I'm not the old me. I'm not the child they still think I am. I've never been a child. I've been very mature as a child. I was very mature because I had to take on responsibilities that my mother should have been doing. Putting that responsibility of taking care of my siblings when she should have been being a mother. Going out and dealing with other people when she should have been at home taking care of us. And I had to be, as the older sibling, not the only older sibling, but the sibling to take care of children. When I didn't have a childhood, I couldn't have friends. I didn't have friends because I had to take care of my siblings because she was running off doing things with other people she shouldn't have. All for money. I missed out on the childhood. And then being beaten on top of that, and also being the scapegoat for lies that my siblings told, being beaten for that, being humiliated in front of others, being humiliated and not being able to defend myself as a child. Trying to dictate my life even as an adult at 50. Trying to want control. My ex-husband wanted control. He was controlling and a tyrant and a bully. Trying to tell me we should do this, when it was all about him, because he wanted the attention. But I was getting attention because I was just being myself and I was good at my job. I never thought I would work at a place like Moda, but I did my job and I did it damn well. And he was jealous of that because my coworkers saw that I was good at what I did, and it made him insecure. So there were people at work that were doing things behind my back with my ex-husband, or he was involved in this too, and I didn't know. This is just now coming out now because of the flashbacks that I've been receiving and all this revelation that's coming, and a lot of things have been coming to light by me going in looking at a lot of these, looking at the communities that are talking about this, and I could relate to them on Facebook, on YouTube. A lot of people are talking about this because they're going through it, but there are people that are speaking out about it. I'm one of them. Because it's brought to my attention that they need to be exposed. So whoever's building a case or who is working on my case, LaMesa Cole, I'm here. I'm here. This group that I feel that he is a part of is a cult, a coven of people, a gang of people. I mean, it can go up to 20 people, maybe 20, 30 people that spread all across the globe, ranging from Oregon all the way to New Jersey. I know my ex-husband traveled to Tennessee to see relatives that I didn't even know he even had a chance to go see, because I hadn't spoken to my relatives. So he, in some way, both he and my relatives, my mother and siblings and stuff, they got together. Some powwow to discuss my life and what they were planning on doing with it without my consent. And going into, I think, looking at, I guess my mother must have been involved in some witchcraft or something growing up. Involved in some, she went to some practitioner, or the person that my ex-husband was with or has been with knows something about the black magic, black arts, the dark arts of voodoo, occult, the occult, practicing these, call them kitchen witches, love spells. Love spells didn't work on me, because ugly is if you're ugly, you're just ugly. Love spells don't work on me. I guess he tried to pull love spells on me. It didn't work. I saw through some stuff. But I've heard all about these twin flame journeys and things, and I studied all that in psychology and all that stuff, but I never really believed it. But I do believe that there is a partner, someone you're supposed to be with. It's your true love. He wasn't it, I guess. So I've always waited to meet the person I'm supposed to be with. And I've always had this belief in justice, the way it was meant to be. And not have a distorted view of it. like my ex was operating in, like my mother and everyone that was a part of this were operating in. Because it's supposed to be a divine transaction. It's supposed to be what should be, not the way you feel it should be, entitled to be. Because it is mainly, if it's entitled in their view, it's very selfish view. Because you want to share with those that don't have any. And as the underdog in the story, I was pegged the underdog in this. And I was overlooked. I've always been overlooked. Because of what I had or didn't have. For what I could give them or what I couldn't give them. They judged the book by its cover. They betted on the wrong person. And to feel like I've been like a show horse to be betted on, or a race dog. I was treated like a pet, and I'm no fucking pet. Okay? You're not a pet. You're a human being. You may be an angel with wings. Just don't see it. They didn't see that. I think there's something in the scripture that about hospitality. You entertain angels unaware. Practice hospitality, for you entertain angels unaware. It's in the New Testament. They failed the test. They were being tested by the Lord. They were tested by the divine, and they failed. Kept getting tired of feeling like we were being tested, but they were tested too, even more so, to find out where their hearts are. And they failed royally. Royally. So now it is time for changes to be made. And I had to heal. I've been healing, and I've had to heal all the way from my crown chakra all the way down to the base, or work on that. And I've come out of the cold. I've come out of a space where I felt like I wasn't good enough, because they made me feel like I wasn't good enough. They tried to project that on me, and they're good at it, projecting things on me. Not owning up to their own responsibilities or accountability for their part in this whole crap show, the circus. The universe spared me because I would not be here to tell this story. I was not going to be here to tell this story. But whoever needs to hear this story, it's worth listening to. I didn't know me and my ex had invested in our own business and everything with this music. But I couldn't invest in someone who was actively trying to do things that I felt were not right. And I still won't invest in something that is immoral, that's going to cause a lot of harm to people, innocent folks. Can't do it. Conscious won't let me. My intuition won't let me. Holy Spirit won't let me. I learned also to invest in oneself. whether that be your business, your education, your craft, whatever it is, your family, whatever it is, but invest in self at this point. Invest in myself. Because I know whatever is going to come out of it is going to be a huge ass return. Because I invested in someone that didn't want to invest in me. It was their own agenda that they wanted to project on me. And we're totally going in two different directions. And now it's time for us to celebrate. Celebrate ourselves, celebrate others that support us, and not with a hidden agenda behind it. Because we will find out whether it's genuine or not sooner rather than later. Because we're the ones, the light worker, empath, and people can fake being an earth angel, but they can't fake it for long. It's only so long. You can see the fruit of it eventually. If they're a light worker or not, or empath. A lot of people claim that, but they're just closet narcissists. And they're hidden in a lot of these religious organizations and churches and things. This is why I could not go visit churches and things like this. I haven't been. Because who's to say? In the Bible, it talks about, God doesn't dwell in man-made temples. So why even go? We're supposed to be Christ consciousness walking around here. And Christ was a mystic. But he also had intuition, aka the Holy Spirit. And he also had, he was a prophet, psychic as well too. Just like a lot of other spiritual leaders. And a lot of people we don't even know. But I just wanted to leave this message here for those that needed to hear it. I will be doing other videos on this as things unfold, and hope that this will be able to resonate with others. I had been spiritually attacked because this has been spiritual warfare. I was literally almost transitioned out of this world because of witchcraft and black magic and this voodoo. Literally violating spiritual laws, invading my dreams, attaching these individuals, my ex-husband, colluding with these people and practicing this dark art, this black magic, trying to access my Akashic records, trying to access my my divinity, which is a violation of the highest order without my consent. Trying to gain access to who I am and where I'm going and what I'm supposed to do and what abundance I'm supposed to have. I am abundance. I am the jackpot. I am the prize, as well as you, collective. Those that know who you are, that know who you are and where you come from. Not your natural blood lineage, parents and stuff, but I'm talking about grandparents and ascended masters and all that. Yeah. Hold on one moment. Sorry about that. And being gang stalked, having people spy on you and go to places where you don't suspect certain people will be attached to your ex or anyone you know, but yet they're observing you, watching you, trying to see what you're doing and reporting back to someone who has no right and no business trying to find out anything about me. It's invasion of privacy. And I just wanted to say that, and trying to gain, trying to keep stirring up lies and gossip to try to get people to be triggered to do things to you, to go and file false police reports, uh, uh, or try to get you put in jail on false charges, or try to get you falsely imprisoned like my ex tried to do, or like the mistress that he had been sleeping with, to try to, or the person that he chose over me while we were married, to have me falsely imprisoned and to have access to the courts, access to the police departments, because you are your family's been affiliated with them, or you've been affiliated with them by some inappropriate ties, to try to get you off your path. That was already predestined anyway. You can change the course of your path by the decisions you make. That's why you have this path and you have this path. You have these two different paths, these crossroads. And you're given the ability to choose the right path. With all the knowledge and everything, with all the information that you know you're supposed to go down this right path, but yet you still choose the wrong path. Well, good luck with that. Or, you know, because following this particular path, the path that you're supposed to go down the right path, you're going to win. It's not going to be smooth sailing, of course. It wasn't for me, but all of the tears, all of the confusion, all of the misunderstandings and miscommunications, and even the people that were in my life didn't want to understand. They didn't want to communicate properly. They wanted to leave confusion up in the air to distract me from the truth. And my light irritated them because they didn't want to hear the truth. Because the truth means taking accountability. And they didn't want to do that. They still don't want to do that. Even in their old age, still don't want to. Knowing it, you can change, but they don't want to because they feel they shouldn't have to. And I wanted to heal that part of them, go to therapy or whatever, heal, go and self-reflect and heal and go through the dark night of the soul. We're fighting to do that when the universe is going to make you sit down. The Lord will make you sit down and deal with you. But they still going out with a blaze of glory and not on that wrong path. Oh well. But I have pretty much walked this path. And I know me. They were even trying to get my children, try to turn my children against me. And my children went through a lot. They went through a lot of abuse at the hands of their own fathers or stepmother. I had to fight. I was up against a Goliath for the last 30 years. Legal battles for the last 26 years fighting for my children. My children were ripped from me in the courts because lies and slander were made up and people had ganged together against one person who was standing 10 toes down, who had to fight by herself to represent her own self. And even the attorneys dealing with the cases weren't even right, even my own. And I had to let them go because they were abusing their power. They were abusing their power and authority in the courts and in the legal system, in the police departments. Police didn't want to take me seriously. Even here, they didn't want to take me seriously. I had to make them take me seriously because of what I look like and who I am. And so I had to remind myself of who I am. The Holy Spirit had to remind me of who I am. If you don't do this, who will? If you don't do this, who will? I kind of feel like Frodo in the Lord of the Rings. I love that genre. Where Frodo is the only one that this task was left at his feet, and he had a decision to make, and he was the only one that could do it, because who else could do it? Who else would do it? He was the only one that had to, but he had to go through a lot of hell that was going to claim something, a path was going to take his life possibly. But he had a very faithful friend in Samwise Gamgee. Um, and his truth was the ring. My ring was I mean, that was the cross I had bear that cross of having to work out whatever lessons I had to learn. And I've learned a lot of valuable lessons. I've learned my lesson. And now I understand what my purpose has been. I understand what my purpose is. Why I had to be in, I had to operate, I had to walk in those dark places with my light. I've been given this cause. I've been given several causes to fight for what's right, to speak up, to speak up for justice. Um, to defend the cause of the fatherless. And that doesn't have to mean like orphan children or anything. But in a way, I see this several ways. Fathers could be those that had to reject their own biological family because they were rejected by their own. And they had to walk this path alone with no help, with no support system at all. No mother, father, cousins, anybody, all of them against them, being used as a scapegoat, being left out, ignored, neglected, pushed to the side, excluded, not even thought of. And it hurts, I know. It hurts. It hurt for a long time. It hurt. But a lot of people in the legal system won't understand about the witchcraft and the voodoo and the dark magic, and they understand the occult type of stuff, the occult satanic, because it involves sacrificing people physically with knives or drowning them or shooting them and things like this. But they don't understand what goes on when it comes to like spiritual warfare. Unless you're a spiritual person, you would know this. But if you're not, and you're like maybe like an atheist or something like this, you probably won't understand because it's abstract. It's not physical. It's not facts. It's not empirical facts and logical stuff. But the spirit realm could be just as logical as it is abstract. If you have the right perspective. If you're in some sort of law, or you're dealing with investigations, you're dealing with facts, you're dealing with deductions, you're deducing things, you're using your logic, you're using fallacies, you're using you're kind of using cause and effect. Karma is like cause and effect. Karma basically is cause and effect, causality. And when it comes to spiritual, witchcraft and everything, that's a heavy price, because you are attaching yourself to demonic things, satanic things, especially when it comes to like Ouija boards and things. You are messing with portals. You're messing with things on the other side of this life that are harmful, that can come in and wreak havoc and haunt houses and people and things like that you don't want. You are something will be unleashed that is very unhealthy, and that will cause mental collapses and breakdowns and psychotic breaks and things, and makes you unstable. I've never played with that stuff, but who's to say that some of these other things like terrorism things aren't helpful for solving crimes or bringing some sort of understanding or some sort of answers or healing or something like that, when you don't have the answers and you have gaps. It's a storytelling tool. And people who are psychics and they're telling stories about how do you resolve things, or how do you see different things, and how you change your perspective of certain things, or how things could be fixed. So it's big. It's bigger than what we in this natural world can comprehend. It's bigger than that. The bigger picture. I see the bigger picture as well. I see the details. I can see the forest from the trees as well as the trees from the forest. And so I just wanted to bring to light what was been going on, and hopefully that I'm going to leave it here, but I will be making other videos to help others who need to have some sort of closure, because I didn't get closure when I was forced to leave. And when I walked away, I made sure that I closed that door and never go back. And because I moved away from this abuse, I was seen as the enemy. I was the enemy while living with him. But I was even more so, I was unaware because my heart was pure. I had the desire to work things out. He didn't want it worked out. I didn't know the mind. I didn't know the person I was married to. Still don't. Doesn't matter now. Don't care. I don't care. The point is that I deserve love, and so do you. I deserve love and respect, and I did not get that. I deserve communication, clear communication, truthful, honest communication. Didn't get that. I hold my head up high because I'm not only a goddess, but I am it. I am the it girl. I knew I deserved better. I knew it. So did he. I knew that I didn't deserve the treatment, the mistreatment, the devaluation, the breadcrumbing, the gaslighting, the projections, the withholding of the secrets, the dishonesty, the deceit, all around the board. They'd rather die instead of tell the truth. How unfortunate. How cowardly. And maybe even had a child during the time we were married. But I did the right thing. And I know my ancestors had told me, you did the right thing. You did the best thing. You need to go where you're celebrated, where you're welcomed, where you belong. You need to go where you are loved, celebrated, and you belong. And your worth is greatly, greatly honored. Because if you're an eagle, you can't fly. You can't fly. You can't hang with the chickens. If you're an eagle, you can't hang with the chickens and the pigeons. So but I know that I know one thing, and I am here for a reason. I've always known since I was 15, I was meant for greatness. I've always known at a young age, I was meant for greater things. I don't forget history. I'm fascinated by history. You know, people always say the past in the past, yeah, but you need to know about your past as much as you can because it determines the trajectory of your future. Your present, you're going to always have to focus on the present and what you're doing now, but remembering your past and remember history. Something about learning from the past because you'll be doomed to repeat it. And I'm trying to figure out if that was JFK, but those that don't um, remember the past are doomed to repeat it. It rings true. I've learned from mine. Learning from my parents' mistakes and my siblings and those that I have had been around. They showed me that I don't need these people if they are secretly envying me and jealous of me or hating on my light and don't want to see me succeed or ascend into a better position. Because had they gone with the flow, they would have seen that I would have taken them with me, but now they're never going with me. Because I'm on to bigger, better things, greater things. And I want to see you all succeed too. And hope to see you all on this journey. But I'm going to leave you all with this thought and hope that what I said or what I have said brings you some comfort. And another thing is that I didn't give up. There were many, many, many years that I wanted to give up, being isolated by myself for so long, so many decades, so many years, not knowing if I was coming or going. But I had to persevere because there was something that I needed. I persevered because I had hope. I had hope. It's a supernatural ability to hope for something that I hadn't even seen yet. That's 30 some years of not knowing. But I persevered. I had hope. I had to motivate myself. I had to inspire myself. I had to keep going regardless of what happened. So many times I was so bored that I was at home. I never got to celebrate. I never got to celebrate birthdays with my kids or holidays or go out to eat with groups of people. Celebrate good things. I was never really invited because I'm the truth teller. Because I'm the one that spoils the party. All I just want to do is just enjoy, have fun. But I'm not going to look away from something that's wrong. And then maybe bullying someone else. When I find something that's unethical, I find something shady, fake, so just hold on, you guys. I believe the worst is over with. Should be smooth sailing from here. Universe, God's got you. Your spirit team, your ancestors got you. Love and light.